All right, my friends, here we are. The first Aphex Twin cover VCV rack tutorial. I'm going to give this a shot, building it from scratch right here in front of you. It could take a while. Sometimes they're much quicker than you would think. Sometimes they can be tedious if I mess it up. I am bound to mess it up. And I'm bound to do some things wrong, and I know that's going to make some people crazy. They're going to be screaming at their screens, no, you don't do this, you do that. And that's fine. You know, I'm sorry, but I'm largely self-taught, and obviously I have watched lots of YouTube tutorials. Namely, I should drop some names here. If you're looking for beginner tutorials, this is your man right here, Omri Cohen. He's a badass. He knows way more than I do about VCV Rack, and he's got just tons and tons and tons of good stuff. Basically taught me everything I know about it. There's some others that are really good too. I can't think of them right now. If you're looking for beginner stuff, definitely go to Omri. For me, I've been using VCV Rack for maybe 2 years now, and Eurorack in general. I have been a synth nerd maybe for about 5 years. I mean, I've always loved them, but never had the cash for them. And the only reason I have the cash for them now, I know a lot of people in the comments are saying he's rich because of the massive files that these can, or memory and frames per second and these kinds of things that this thing can handle. The gigahertz. It's true that I have a fairly nice computer. It's an Apple M2 Mac Mini, I guess. I bought it refurbished, and all the gear that I've got, I bought everything with show money. So do a show, buy a piece of gear. Do a show, buy a piece of gear. Works great for me, works great for tax purposes. That's all it is. So I'm sorry if some of these patches are too big for a shitty little laptop, and it's true, they can be. But hopefully you can, do some shows. Make that cash just to buy these little things and make difficult life just a little bit sweeter. That's what I do. So let's pick a song. I still use this iTunes Apple Music thing. That's because I've got just a backlog of so much music, and I'm kind of sick of Spotify, It's annoying to me. They're dumb mixes. So, I don't know. I've pretty much depleted a lot. I've got some really random, maybe on. It's a good one. We should definitely go simple for the first one, I think. Would be a good idea. Or maybe this. Yeah, let's go with that. How do you say it? Ageispolis, from the selected ambient works of Richard D. James. I like it. It's got like a pretty steady. Some nice pads. That could be a good one. Challenging still. They're all challenging. Even the simple ones are like, oh, man. All right, so to begin, I usually have a template set up, but I thought for y'all I would just go ahead and start from scratch. I like to use the Mixmaster and its Auxpander sidekick here. I'm going to need my Audio 8. Again, if you don't know VCV Rack, go and check out those other videos, and then come on back here ugh, this whole problem. So patch cables, you know, I know everyone wants me to do it very carefully and color coded so that it's easy to follow, but man, that just takes so much time. I don't know if I can do it. So just try to follow along is all I can say. I guess I'll just use this one. And let's see, black hole. I don't know what your setup is like, but I've got black hole 16 um, in my computer, and that's then going into Logic. It's a great way to record VCV rack. There's a recorder module, but I get a lot of crackles and doesn't do very well for me. So try black hole out if you haven't. I don't think they make it for PC yet, though I do believe they are trying to. I'll just go to my favorites here, and I'll grab some essentials. Right off the bat, I'll just take a VCA, and I'll take an ADSR, and let's move that guy. I like to use this FM op actually because it has a built-in ADSR, which is very convenient. I do like to use these mix 4s, these Bog Audio mix 4s to kind of, you know, wrangle some sounds together. I like the Trumer 2 for a good kick. Let's see. Oct is a great LFO, also in hardware form, FYI. I'm going to need a clock. I like to use these impromptu gate sequencers and phrase sequencers. They do a great job. I'll stick a hi-hat in there. You can always delete this stuff. VCV is the best. You can just, you know, experiment. Throw it away if it doesn't work. Okay, let's start with this for now. All right, first things first. I'm going to turn all these runs off. Do not need them on. And this is the first thing that's weird. I got to look up, first of all, how do you spell it? Ageispolis BPM. Okay, Aphex twins, according to AI Demon. Aphex twins, Ageispolis original mix is 102 BPM, a mellow tempo for this classic electronica track, known for its distinctive sound and atmospheric feel, often categorized under genres like IDM or ambient techno, according to sources like Beatport. Thank you. All right, so we'll just take our clocked, what did it say? 102 to 102. But then we're going to do something weird. We're going to come over here to both our sequencers and hold down on length mode until we see the X1 or times 1, and we're going to crank it all the way up to multiplied by 24, and it'll snap back to the sequence 1. We'll do the same thing here. Hold down length mode, crank it up. Whoops, I just hit something on my desk with my mouse, so I got to redo that. Hold down length mode, crank it up to 24, and you can see on this one all of these light up yellow. The reason I'm doing that is, one, I've had trouble getting the BPM to match up right if I don't do it this way. And two, if you have these multiplied by 24, you can then use all of these different gate types. And in here, they're kind of buried underneath, under this gate type mode. All right, so, and because it's Aphex Twin, I almost always can assume there's going to be some weird gate stuff going on. And this is how you can do it. I'm not sure why. If you don't do that, then, and you just leave it at, you know, the regular BPM, you can't use the different gate types. It's just stuck with the one, I believe. Again, don't scream at me if I'm wrong, but you can say so. The next thing I got to do is take my clock 1 ratio all the way up to 96. And somehow I figured out this formula and it works. I don't know why exactly, but it does work. So now I'm just going to connect my clock to my clock, and same with over here, my resets and my runs. Bam. Okay, so now we're ready to sequence, which is all this really is. And I guess to begin, I'll just grab that FM up since it's super handy with that Build 1080 SR. To get those, to get this envelope to work, you've got to click it on right there. You'll see it turn green. And I will connect my CV to the voltage per octave and the gate to the gate. And I'll take that FM up into my mixer. I should now be able to click here. Let me turn it down just in case it's super loud. And there it is. Okay. We're going to need our track. So there's a lot of bouncing back and forth between listening and building. First note. First note is what I want to pop in there. And there it is. It sounds to me like a C. So 1, 2, 3. And this is where it becomes kind of a guessing game for me. I am not a pianist. I don't know how to play really anything except synthesizers. And, you know, it's just listening. That's all it is. First of all, that attack is way too smooth, so I'm going to turn that attack down. And, you know, you can make these adjustments after. It's sometimes for me better to find the notes and where they go and then make adjustments to my sound. It might even mean grabbing a new, totally different oscillator and dropping it in here, and all you got to do is plug that CV and gate into it, and boom, there you go. New sound. Oh, my wife is texting me about a coat. She wants to know if it looks good. I'm saying maybe. I don't know. I can't really see it. All right, so sorry. I'm just going to guess that's maybe too fast to just skip one note. Oh, let's try it. All right, so I'm switching octaves here, obviously. That sounds like the beginning. Whoops. Bump, 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 bump. And then it's fast. But first I want to make sure these are okay. So you saw that I skipped a note here. So I'm going to go to my second note here. I'm going to click tide step and gate to turn it off. And same with the fourth one, tide step, gate. And the fifth one, tide step, gate. I then will go to length mode and just click on 5 so that I can listen to the first notes. And I'll hit reset and run. I think that's right. I feel like that tempo is correct there. Which is great. All right, so then I think it goes immediately into the next one. Then maybe skip a note. Do, 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 do. Tide step and gate that one. And then I'll go to length mode and change it to 10 and hit reset run. Sounds good to me. Oh, I keep doing that. Do, 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 do. So this one I think is the same. Tie step and gate that one. Let's try length mode 12. All right, so we're going to move on to 2. And judging by the pattern, it might be somewhat close to 1. So what I'll do is go to all here and I'll copy it, switch to 2 and paste. So now 1 and 2 are exactly the same, and all I'm going to do is change notes. Oh boy. And that's the first one is skipped, I believe. All right, so at this point, what can be very helpful is going to YouTube, clicking in here and finding that track. Yes, I look up some dumb YouTube stuff. I've been really sick, so I've been watching Beard Meets Food, Eat Food. I can't eat any food, so for some reason that's helpful for me. How do you spell it? All right, so one nice thing about YouTube is going to settings, playback speed, and just dropping it a bit. Maybe 0.75. Didn't help that much though. We're close, and you know, adjustments can be made later. So what I'm going to do now is go to song mode, and I've got 1-on-1. I'm going to go to 2 and change it to 2. I'm going to go to length mode and change that to 2 and listen to the 2 together. All right, so yeah, it's clearly off, but not by much. I did hear on sequence 2, you got to be careful of this. We want it to start on this note, but we don't want this lingering C happening here because it's very distracting. So what I'll do is go to 1. What's our last note? Last note is whatever that is. I can't remember. And so I'm going to go to 2. I'm going to go to step 1. I'm going to turn gate on. And it was octave 5. And now I'm going to turn it off with tide step. And that should do the same thing automatically to step 2. And now we won't hear that anymore if I go back to song mode. Nice and smooth. That's going to drive me a little crazy. Ugh. What is it? Oh well, moving on. There's a lot to get through with that. And the truth is, gotta fix it before moving on. Otherwise, going back will be a headache. So let's just fix it. All right? So again, I'll go to all and copy 3 and paste. I think we're going to start with that. Dun dun dun. I think 4 will be dun dun dun. So I'm going to copy all of these, move to 4 and paste. And I think that third one's tied. The fourth one is on. Fifth one's tied. Do a length mode of sum. Alright, so that's more spread out. I'll click on 2. I feel like that sounds right, but awkwardly it's ending on step 23, which means there's this big space, but it goes right back into 1. So we'll see how that works out. We'll go then to song mode and change 3 to 3 and 4 to 4 and give it a length of 4. Yeah, it's not quite right. It's close. Let's give it another listen. And this time I'll add some reverb. Which I haven't done yet. I like to do an end of chain reverb with plateau. Very popular end of chain reverb. And I'll just add that right here. Crank up the wet. Turn down the dry. Maybe turn down the low a little bit. And pop up my track 1. I'm sure that it's all wrong in some way. Let's see if we can make that work for us. Okay, let's try our drums out. I'm just going to move this over and drag this guy down. I think I'll get rid of these for now. I don't see us using them just yet anyway. And I'll make my bottom row, or track 4, my kick. I don't always use the noise part of this as a snare, but I can. So I'll use track 3 or this row as a snare. I'll use 4 as a hat. And even though it starts with that really reverby snap, I'm going to try to tackle the drum beat first. All right, so and to do this, I typically just knock in my gates and hit play and see what works. And what's nice is you can change the gate sequencer in real time. Turn them off, turn them on, find out what works. Gotta plug it in, of course. This is going to annoy me too, so I'm going to actually just change this a little bit over here. The noise part over here, the level's always by default down. I don't know why, but you got to turn that level up. I typically like to go to a high pass filter on this, bring that cutoff down, bring the decay up, and then you can hear it better, and then you can start to shape it more. But you must plug it in to your mixer. Okay, we got much more decay. Sometimes it's even helpful to run them at the same time. It might sound like cacophony, but you can sort of match sounds this way. Sort of. Just like that. Alright, now how's it going? Boom, 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 boom. So I can already hear that we have in fact run into trouble because we turned, I'm saying we, but it's me, I did it, sequence number 4 into only 24 steps. That's not going to work. It needs to go all the way through in order for this to run as a loop. And that is because we got to make sure these sequences are correct, and that's the only way to get it to fold in on itself in the right way. But you can hear these sounds developing. It is starting to work. I'm actually going to move my kick snare hat into the mix 4 because it's just a little more convenient, and then drop that in like so. I'll leave it up there. We need a open hat. We'll take track 1 as an open hat. Oh, right, got an extra one there. And I'll grab this open hat. And I'll just take the gate into here, and I'll take it out. It's not bad. All right, so there's a lot more percussion going on, which I'm going to do another gate sequencer for. But for now, I'd like to get those pads in there to give this more of a fullness. And we're just going to ignore that this is a little choppy for now. I might have to finagle it and come back to the video after. But for now, let's do some pad work. I'm just going to grab phrase sequencer 32 and FMOP, and I'll hit Command D to duplicate them. Remember, when duplicating in this fashion, you are duplicating everything. So the sequences we've put in there, everything. Which, you know, maybe you don't want. Since they're big pads, they're not going to mimic this at all. So I'm just going to go ahead and initialize this phrase sequencer. Remember, when doing so, I'll do the same thing for the FMOP. When doing this, I have to then turn off run first, and then never forget to hold down length mode and crank that back up to 24 so that it's going to run at the same BPM, if that's what you need. All right, so I'll make my connections. Clock to clock, run to run, reset to reset, CV, and gate. Whoops. And then I'll come out of there. Oops. Forgot to turn my envelope on and turn that down. So envelope on, track down a bit. I can then find my sound. So this is a pad which is going to have a less of an attack, way more of a release. My mouse is acting up. let's find that first sound. I want to say it's a bit detuned, as does happen a lot with Aphex Twin. Richard loves those detuned, but there's like a C in there. Let's just see if I can get it. Yeah, I just detuned that frequency down just a titch to 0.97831, maybe. And because these are long, let's see how long they last. I would say they're at least 16 steps, so we could try to do a 2 16-step sequence on this one. That way we can do a harmony. I'm not convinced about that detune, but we'll find out. I'm going to just duplicate this FM op and connect the bottom CV and gate and bring that out and in. And I feel like this note is correct. And you know what? I'm just gonna initialize that detune. Now let's try it without the detune. Sorry, I have that cranked up. And what I got to do is come in here and tie step all of these. All right, now since I've tied 4 together, I can then click on this step and copy and paste all the way down. And I'll do the same thing up here. Tie 4. Copy and paste all the way down. And let's see what this sounds like. Alright, so clearly it's I think maybe 32. So I'm gonna click on 9, change it to 8, copy 8 of those, go to 2, click on 1 and paste it, and click on 9 and paste it. And then I'll do the same for the bottom. Copy 1, paste and paste. And then I'll go to song mode, make this 2, length of 2, and let's see what that gives us. Alright, so my plan may have failed. Doing a tied step from sequence to sequence, it doesn't work for some reason. You're always going to get that pause, the little kind of rest in between them. I wish it didn't do that, but it does. So 2/16s will not work. We're going to need 2 sequencers. And that's fine. It's just more cluttered. But I'm just going to duplicate this sequencer. Then I'll go back to my original one, sequence mode 1. Change this to 132. And I'm just going to copy these 8 on step sequence 1 to the whole row. And then I'll do the same thing over here, but with the bottom. Change it to 132. Go down. Oh, actually, I'm going to click on this bottom one and copy those 8 and plant those up here. Go over here, copy those, and put them here. And then I'll paste that again here. I think that'll be right. I do need to connect these things. That's better. Yeah. All right, so now I'll go to all and I'll copy all and go to sequence 2 and paste them. And I just need to change my note. What is that note? See, again, I feel like it's detuned. We'll fix it. Over here, copy all of 1, 2, paste. And I've got no sound. Did I not do this one right? Let's see. It's got a tied step. Let's see. You saw me adjusting the fine-tuning of these pads, and they are so different, but that's just kind of how I do it. I use my ears, I listen, and adjust as it plays. To me, that sounds okay. It's not perfect. It never is, but it's close. It's pretty close. This is driving me crazy. I'm going to have to fix this whole sequence. Go ahead and do it. I think I know what to do. So we do not want this length of 24 on sequence 4. So I'm going to change that length to 32, and I'm going to click on, so sequence 4, clicking on step 17, We are on 8. I'm going to copy that and paste it to the end because I know that's where that needs to be. And I'm going to just basically do that to each 8 steps, push it forward. So I'm going to click on step 9, copy, step 17, paste. Step 1, copy, step 9, paste. And then I'll go to 3, copy, back to 4, paste. And I can listen to this to make sure it's going to work. Just going to solo that. Yeah, for sure. That's the way to go. So we were on 3. I pushed that forward. I'm going to take this one, copy it, push it forward. This one, copy, paste. This one, copy, paste. And then here's where things get tricky. So I will take 25, copy it, go to 3, paste it, back to 2, and I think I want to keep that. This is where things are wrong. Actually, I already moved this forward. So what I'll do is I'll take this one and I'll move that forward. And it's this one. I'm going to copy that one and paste it here. And that's where we've gone wrong, I believe. So I say we, but it's me. Alright, so that's too many. And I think what I'll do is select 18, go to 4, copy that, move it down, turn this one off. Listen to this. Let's turn this reverb off for a second. I think I'll just take this one out, and I'm not going to get too crazy about this. I think that's probably good enough. I think that's good enough. Let's give this a shot. I'll go back into song mode and listen to the whole solo. I think that solved all our problems. Let's give it a whole listen here. The problem. Okay, so let's make another gate sequencer. I'm just going to duplicate this one and I'm going to move some things over so we've got some room. And this will be totally different. So I'll initialize this one, turn run off, hold down length mode, change that to 24, make my connections. With this mouse. And then I got to figure out where this reverby snap click comes in. It's like on the third kick only, I think. Which happens when... Also, these gates I think need to be adjusted here. This is a little more delayed, maybe, this kick. Let us solo track 2. All right, so we need a snappy snap sound. I'll go into here and I'll find my drums. All right, so Pico drums. Also in hardware, I do have this one. It's pretty cool. I mean, it's a little difficult to find your sample in there, but it's in there. I'll use track 4 for trigger 1, or yeah, trigger 1. And I'll come out of there and drop that in. If I don't want to just hit reset run, listen to the whole thing over and over again to find my sample, the easier way to do that is to just find my MIDI to CV, make it my keyboard, and connect a gate to it. And then I can, sorry about that, then I can just use my keyboard to find that sample. And it sounds just like a high-pitched clicky sound. Oh. So Pico drums, I hate that it starts down. I don't know why I hate it. It's because that's trigger 1 and trigger 2. It should start on the up position, but you gotta switch it up to change this sample. Maybe. Let's give it a shot. Plenty of reverb on 5. Now, it is not happening every third kick, though. So what I can do is add a probability to it, which I can do by making sure that it is selected, clicking on probability, and we can do 50% probability and see what that's like. I think that could work. We could pull that off, maybe. What else do we have? There's a sneaky little shaker that comes in there. At first it's only 1 and then it's many. I'm just going to stick with the many because laziness, I guess. And I'm just going to poke some in here. I don't know where they'll end up, but that's what I'll do. And I'll use track 3 on trigger number 2. Switch to the down mode. go back to white to find my shaker sound. And again, I'll use gate from MIDI to 2. That could work. Let's see what this is like. Pretty hard to hear over these drums. I think I want to there we go. So I was messing with this, as you saw. The red does what? I can't remember. Yellow is pitching it up and down. Red is, I think, decay, so shortening and lengthening the decay. And green is pitching it up and down. Red is the decay. Yellow is volume. So I added some volume to it, and I shortened the decay a bit. It is getting a little lost in the second drum with the hi-hat. So, you know, I might want to, I can delete this MIDI. I might want to give it its own output. Decisions, I may as well try it. So I think what I'll do is I'll just duplicate this drum, and I'll stick that track into this one instead. So now the snap has its own track, and I'll give the shaker its own up here with some reverb, just not as much. And then I can decide where I want to put these. All right, we're gonna have to throw that bass in there because it's pretty sweet. I think that's the first part. So. Okay, let's just, I'm going to duplicate my first phrase. They might have some similarities. Pardon me. And maybe I'll use, I like this kick-all. Bufeco kick-all is pretty sweet for a bass, kicky bass. Also in hardware version I have this one. It's pretty sweet. So I'm just going to connect my tune to CV and my trig to the gate. Make my run reset clock connections. Okay, so of course I went ahead and made the bass without noticing that my video stopped recording. You know, first time doing this, kind of, so sorry. But here's what I did. I just programmed it in just like anything else, and you're getting the idea now of how this works. So sequence 1. And I did all this with the drums on, so I could time it out like a metronome in a way. Sequence 2. That note lasts quite a while. These are all tied. Sequence 3. That's all tied. Sequence 4. That's all tied. And that's it. So 4 sequences, bass gives us the full track. And now we can decide, with his track, obviously things come in and out. The drum stops sometimes, comes back in. I think there's some extra drum sounds in there as well. And we can program all of that into the sequences. So, let's say we've got 64 sequences happening on these gate sequencers. And the drums are extremely simple as Aphex Twin goes. Very simple. We only have one sequence on these drums, which is kind of nice because then we can experiment. So, you can copy all of sequence 1 and go to 2 and put it in there and change them if you want, kind of make your own drum track to it. Or I think he's got it like where just the open hat hits, and it's like, well, let's listen for a sec. Like that. And that's silence. So that's all coming from this gate sequencer. So what I can do is, oh no, it's not. It's this one. This is my open hat. So yeah, I'm going to copy all of these. I'm going to go to 2 and paste them. And then after that open hat, I'm just going to turn them off. And maybe I'll turn that last kick off as well. And I'll solo this for right now and just see what that's like. So I did choke that open hat. I think I'd rather have it not choke on that. In which case, I'm going to ignore that I just did this to sequence 2. Don't even worry about it because we're only on 1 on all of these. And I'll come down here because I've got 2 open tracks here. And I'll go to 2 open gates that I can use. And I'll just do the same thing. So it's on step 11. I'll put one on step 11, and instead of using this choked gate, I'll just use this gate. And I guess it's got to have its own track since there's no more room on that mix 4. No big deal. Plenty of room up there. And I'm going to make it the same. So that's sample 12. And I might even make this the same, 1.2732. You can type this in. I'll just do it. 1.2732. So that it's exact and without a choke. And I'll just solo that. Although, I do want that number 2 over here, actually, because I do want them to stop. And I can leave that on. That's no big deal. So I just need to make sure that I have these two 2s happening at the same time. Right now I'm on song mode, so whoops. I'm going to go back to, now I'm going to go to song mode on both of these. And then I can just decide, like, where do I want that to happen? Maybe it's step 25. And then I'll go to 2. Step 25, 2. And I think it happens like several times in a row and then stops, something like that. We can try it. So I'll just do several times in a row. Whoops. Let's do 4. And in this same kind of mind frame, the way this track starts, we've got our initial sound coming from this phrase into this FM op, which is track 1 up here. So that's good to go, and that's going to play throughout. We don't have to worry about that. But what comes in, well, actually that the high-pitched pico drum click sound, which is number 6 up here, that's coming in with 1, but everything else is silent. And there's a few ways we can deal with this. We can either program our sequencers so that they play nothing until we're ready for them to play something. Or another fancy trick is to use a gate sequencer. This one only has 1. So I'm just going to make another gate sequencer. I'm going to initialize it. Again, turn off run, hold down length mode, drag it to 24 so that it's ready, plug it all in. And now I'm going to use this to trigger sequences, or fades, really. So first of all, I need to make sure my volume levels are all good to go. So I'm just going to play the whole thing and adjust some levels up. What we can use to do this, and this is super cool with this Mixmaster, it is called Meld. I'm just going to go ahead and favorite that because it's great. This guy, as a companion to the Mixmaster, can trigger fades on our tracks. So I'm going to come out of the meld and into track mute input, and we know that that drum fades in, so I'll deal with that first. Our drum track is number 2 here, and remember, you you can double click on your track up here, number, and type in what it is. It kind of helps sometimes. It also reflects over here in your aux bander. So track 2 will be here, and I'm just going to connect that to gate 4 down here. And then I can decide, so because these gate sequencers, nicely enough, are empty. There's nothing plugged in, but they are all on sequence 1. I'm going to use sequence 1 as my default. Nothing is happening. So I'm going to change to sequence 2, and that means trigger something. And what I want to trigger is the fade in of my drums on track 2 up here. So I'm going to add a gate to that track 4, and then I can decide on my song where I want those drums to fade in. And I think it's pretty quick. I might just go to step 9, I think. So step 9, I'm going to change to 2. You'll see the little white dot show up because that's where we put a gate on sequence 2. So now that's when it hits, it's going to go all the way through these. It might be too late. We can change it if it is. But it'll go all the way through these till step 9, and then it'll send a signal to fade in track 2, and I have to tell that to my track 2 over here. And I can do that by right-clicking on drum, and if you see down here it says fade off. I just want to click and drag just a little bit so that it says fade 0.1 seconds. So really fast. Actually, it is a slow fade in on this track. So maybe I'll change it to 5 seconds. You can also change this from linear to logistic to exponential. I'm just going to leave it at linear, I think, 5 seconds, and see how that goes. And you can see that the mute now has changed to an F. I do want to have that on, and you can see it drop before I hit start. And let's see what this sounds like. One mistake I made, this new gate sequence that I have over here only has a length of 4, so it'll never reach my destination. I'm actually going to go all the way to 64 on that length and try this again. There. I'm sorry if that's really loud. Again, I have no control over that volume. I guess I could turn my master down. I guess I will for now. That's too late for me. So on song mode, I'm going to change that back to 1, and I'm going to come over here to step 5, I think, and change that to 2 instead. So now at step 5, it's going to trigger that fade in. And the fade in, I think, should take longer. So I'm gonna make that 10 seconds long and see how that goes. Now, there's a lot of other things. The bass won't come in till later. The pads won't come in yet. The shaker won't come in yet. A lot of this stuff. So I'm just gonna mute those things. I think it's all of this, actually. Hit fade again so that it turns down. We just want to deal with our drums right now. And we do want that click on. Okay, that's much better. And I think those pads will come in more at step 9. So to do that, I'm going to go back to sequencer, go to 3, and I'll drop a gate on track 3 here, and I'll drag that. My pads are on 3 and 4, so I'll do both 3 and 4 into track 3 over here. And I'll go to 3 and 4. I'll give those, I'll also give those a 10-second fade in. Did I do that right? I don't see it. There they are. Make sure they're all on, and go back to song mode on this gate sequencer, and over here on step 9, I'm going to change it to 3. Reset and run. Okay, so I think I want step 25 to bring in my shaker. So again, I'll go back to my sequencer, change it to 4, drop a gate on track 3. My shaker is where? This is where color coding would work, dummy. Not there. It's this one. It's 5. 5. I'll do another 10-second fade in. That's going to be on track, whatever they call it, track 2 to 5. And I'll go back to song mode and change number 25 to 4. Turn these all on. Give them a second. Did I do that right? I don't know if 5 was right. And we'll find out. No. 5 was incorrect. That we don't need a fade on. That is our snap. So I'm just going to turn that back off. And I'm going to connect it to 6 because that's what it is. And on 6, I'll give that a 10-second fade in. There we go. Alright, that's all working fine, but what I noticed is whatever I did to program that drum change is not happening, and I think it's because that is why. I've only got a length of 4 on my sequencer. Stupid. Alright, so it's 2, and I put those 4 right there at 25. So I'm just going to go ahead and length mode all of it. Same with down here. Length, everybody. This guy, what is this? This is my bass. So it doesn't matter. Bass doesn't matter. I think nothing matters except for those drum changes because everything's just repeating. Pretty simple song when it comes down to it for Richard D. All right, let's see how that works out. Much better turning that release down for track 1. Okay, so that sounded fine. I think we can throw in a couple more 2s here and there, and I think our bass should come in much sooner. Right now we've got bass coming in at 33. I'm going to change that back to 1. Wait, yeah. 1. And I think bass will just come in with shaker. In which case, I'm going to go to sequence 4, and I'm just going to drop in another gate here. So it's going to send 2 signals on 4. So that it's a lot faster. Again, attention spans don't work out. And then for 2, I think those 4 work fine there, and the bass will be in there now. I think, but maybe we'll just drop it in a few times randomly. Just make sure you match it up. So 36. Match it up with this one. And maybe somewhere much lower. I'll do 2 in a row. 51, 52. Drop another fade in, as I said, to the end of our sequence so that it turns back off so that it can turn back on as it rolls back around. So let's, we can try an experiment of 1, 2, 3, 4 turning off, or 2, 3, 4, since we turned 5, we got rid of 5. So over here on our gate sequencer that's triggering fades, ins and outs, I think I'll go to 60 and change that to a 2. So that's going to fade out my drum. 61, I'll go to 3. That'll fade out whatever that is. Actually, 3 and 4. we did it. It took a while. A little tedious coming when it came to building that those crazy melodies, but you know, there it is. So I hope this was good. I promise they're gonna get more polished as I go, and I won't forget to hit record on doing some of this stuff. But thanks for watching and listening. Seriously, it's pretty awesome. I love that other people love this. I love it. I love that other people love it. All right, so I'll catch you next time.